The Athene Real Talk Podcast explores controversial ideas to stimulate debate and active thinking. These ideas do not always reflect Athene's personal views. Welcome to the Athene Real Talk Podcast.
He has been called the best gamer in the world, hands down.
World-famous gamer and philanthropist Athene.
Gaming for Good, it's called, has raised more than $20 million.
Using his notoriety to raise money for charity.
On activism, science, culture, and self-development.
Proud to have him in the studio today. I would not want to take you on in a video game.
You could have a much better life. Probably be like, yeah, I know that if I have more money, more honeys, I could have a better life. Yeah. No. You can have a much better life now. What's the catch, bro? Ain't gonna donate or anything. Just gotta be aware of this. You have to understand what is it that drives you in your life. And also be aware that depending on how you grow up, it's different from one culture to another. More beautiful is you can change that. Okay, sounds interesting. What you gotta say, homie? What is it that drives me? What drives you is what has been indoctrinated by society for you to care about. It's about you, your life, your happiness, your experience. Seems legit. What's the problem with that? The problem with that is that it's not what you're designed to do. And as a result, when society makes you believe it's all about you and feeling good, you start chasing happiness. You start chasing experience. All what has purpose or meaning is about achieving this state of happiness. Sounds cool? What's the problem? The problem with that is that there is no happiness in chasing happiness. Happiness is merely a side effect. It's a tool that has evolved through evolution. Sounds nice. Why should I give a shit? Whatever. Well, the chase is causing all your misery. The reason why you feel bad, the reason why you feel lonely, the reason why you feel like shit, is because you chase this empty happiness. Because you chase that self-fulfillment. Say, okay, what's the alternative? Is there something better? Not that I know. There is something better. And it's to do what happiness is designed to reward, which is doing the right thing. And when you were a kid and you grew up, you wanted to do the right thing. You wanted to understand the world. You had hope. But as society started slapping it out of you, you start losing hope. You start focusing on the self. And as a result, you start feeling worthless because you have nothing to live for. Society has sucked away all your existential purpose. And the only thing it has replaced it with is this shallow happiness layer. You might say like, okay, I can really get that. I know my life is meaningless. I know my life is purposeless. But what to do? Like, what you're saying is also purposeless. That's not true. When you look at even what the definition of purpose is, it's about why something exists. The reason why you exist is just as much as the reason why cells exist. The cells don't exist for themselves. They exist to grow, to contribute, and to carry on. Ripple. Just as much as you. And that's where real purpose lies. And that's why when you're depressed, one of the strongest therapies, one of the best therapies, is to put you in a situation where you have to help others. You might say like, I don't feel like doing that though. You don't feel like doing the right thing because you have all these attachments, you have all this wiring, and it's a burden. You're carrying it around. You have identity, you try to get purpose of identity of all these things that are meaningless. Luxuries, games, whatever. Just to be distracted and feel that level of comfort. But the solution is in letting go and realizing that life is bigger than you. But not just that just being able to let go is very liberating. Makes you feel a lot more happy. It's like a drug addict. You can't go and talk to a heroin addict and say, you're going to have a better experience than these shots. There is no such a thing as a better experience than these heroin shots. So why not take them? From his reality, it's like, I have nothing to live for anyway. Might as well feel good doing heroin. From your point of view, it's like, but no, your life is something worth living for. You're gonna die if you keep doing it. So like, I don't care about my life. Funnily enough there is people that are immune to the addiction of heroin. And the reason why they're immune is because they have something to live for. Same reason why someone that is smoking doesn't want to stop smoking because he thinks his own life is not worth doing it. But once he becomes father or mother, suddenly it's like, I can drop my cigarettes because I'm doing it for my children. Because it gives him purpose. And you can actually talk to many parents. One of the best moments in their lives is when they became father or mother. It's because their perception on life itself changed from themselves to something bigger. Funnily enough you don't have to become a father or mother to realize that, because right now you can have a big impact. You might say like, yeah, but That sounds so much work, all these responsibilities. Responsibility is not a bad thing. Whenever you hear responsibility, you think work. You don't want to work, you want to have fun. This duality has been indoctrinated by society. You think in work and fun. Responsibility, work, fun, distraction. No. Life is just about doing what is right all the time. And the moment that your work becomes your passion, because on a fundamental level you value doing what's right more than comfort, that's the moment you set yourself free, and at any given moment you feel fulfilled. Your life doesn't consist of this crazy duality anymore. You wake up, you do what is right, every single moment of the day, whether you feel like it or not. It's very powerful. So that's basically the insight. It's selfless awareness, and it's about valuing logic on a fundamental level. It's about surrendering to it, committing to it. It really sets you free, makes you more happy and fulfilled than ever. Every time you find something that is right to do, you have an extra reason that is worthwhile to live for. Keep that in your mind. Life is not meaningless. Life is not purposeless. Life's purpose is life itself. And that's why you're here. You're not here because you need to fulfill your experience. No. Your experience is merely a tool that has evolved through billions of years of evolution. If you go back enough, experience didn't even exist. Just like your hands. It's a tool that allows life to evolve faster, more effective. And it's been so successful that it gained full control, to the extent where your own living organism fully entrusts you with its own life. And we take that all for granted because we didn't learn to respect these things. We didn't learn to respect reality. We're even so entitled to everything that we even think we can question reality. We can agree or disagree with facts that are not pleasant or pleasant, whatever. That's not how the world works. It's about being honest, about seeing reality for what it is, aligning yourself with it. And the moment you do that, the more you do so, the more compatible you are, the more you're going to be complete, the less inner conflict and dissonance you will experience. You and the world. And here, I'm here making a case just about your life. I'm not even talking about how your lifestyle affects other people's lives. Because inaction kills. We have the ability to change the world and take away all human-caused suffering overnight. There's people right now dying for nothing, so we can have more luxuries or more comfort that we don't even need. Most of us don't feel happy anyway. It's the world upside down. We rather choose to be distracted and have some fun than actually take up responsibility and do something about the world. It's crazy. In a few generations, we might look back and see us, compare us even worse than slavery in the 1900s or the World War and all the concentration camps. You know, back in the days, we sometimes wonder, why did people not do anything? Well, first of all, they had to risk their lives. They could get executed. And secondly, why aren't we doing anything? Our inaction is killing people. We have the ability to just very little effort change people's lives, give life. There's people that are dying literally every day that we can avoid from happening. And there's a video that sometimes gets linked, and that video really allows you to put these words into visuals, you know, because it's one thing to hear what I say and go like, yeah, people die, whatever. But if you see it and you know you could have stopped it, that's a different story. It becomes more personal. What you get to see is just pure sadness, unnecessary death, and for what? You see that, you know you cannot justify your comfort for all this suffering. And I want to say something really important. It's not even about guilt. Because there was a guy that even said like, yeah, I'm going to start changing the world just because of guilt. Then he broke down in front of his parents and started crying himself back to being a hypocrite, which is even worse in my opinion. It's about looking at that and just taking up responsibility, not because it's sad, but because you can. Because doing what's right has nothing to do with feelings. It has to do with just pure reality. You accept it for what it is, you do something about it. It's about impact, logic, science, facts. You might say like, man, that's really a lot to digest. It's not a lot to digest. I can tell you, anything that you think is a lot is just because you compare it to your comfortable situation right now. But I'm telling you, if you make the leap and start accepting what you are on a fundamental level and really submit to logic, your anxiety goes away, your problems, your fears about the future go away, you feel more confident. And all success, money, girls, whatever, are all side effects. They all come automatically. I preach this day in, day out. I'm not some hobo in a freaking dump. I've achieved so much. I can make money like it's nothing. So it's not even like you need to sacrifice and risk your life to die. No. It's literally just by realigning yourself with what you truly want. Because on a fundamental level, you want this anyway. There is a part of you that wants to do what's right. you've just given up on it. And by giving up on it, you've given up on any self-worth you had. And that's why you feel deep inside so empty, aimlessly, don't know what to do with your life. Well, project. Because as long as you keep that path of experience, it will never change. You might hold on to identity and get some hobbies and say, this is my passion. It'd just be dysfunctional. And I'll tell you something else. When it's about logic, you can say, but why is logic doing good? Logic is connected to doing good because of consistency. When you make a claim, any claim requires you to have the ability to make that claim. And that brings about consistency. Me being able to have this conversation requires me to have my situation, right? So I can't just go around and say like, oh, this and that. I have to help people to get to that level in order for me to even be able to talk about it. So I can't just go and judge people on the other side of the planet and say they're dying and they should die. No. If I'm in a position to do something, I should. Because there is no difference between me and them. If I would be born there, I would be them. And they would be sitting here. You gotta imagine that you're that father in that video. And that you come to yourself and say like, you know, there is a version of you that could have prevented this from happening. But you know what he said? He said, no, I don't really feel like it. I feel more comfortable. You wouldn't be able to live with yourself. Do you understand that? Because it's very easy to draw these imaginary borders. But when you go to the essence, we're just all humans. We're all equal. And that responsibility, that selfless responsibility, is what brought you about to begin with. If it wasn't for your mother selflessly caring for you, you wouldn't even exist. And the mother of your mother, and the mother of your mother. It's a circle of life, you know. And I want to say something about this consistency as well. You want consistency more than anything. You know, just going to work, it's because there is money on your bank. You assume you can save up the money and use that money. It brings consistency in your life. If it wasn't for that, then you wouldn't go work. Money brings consistency in your life. Even though money is still just an idea, it's a belief. If tomorrow people give up on the value of money, all the money you've saved up is worthless. Tomorrow the bank that is carrying your money goes bankrupt. You lose all your money, all your savings, gone. If tomorrow there is a war, your security is gone. It's an illusion. The consistency you live in is an illusion, and accepting that on a fundamental level is how you achieve certainty. The way of feeling more confident and more certain than anything is accepting uncertainty. It's accepting it and falling back on what's really the strongest foundation of anything, and that is reality itself. Even more so than the intersubjectivity. And I know that intersubjectivity is defining your lives more than anything. It's what brings about the system, nations, companies, laws. It's all institutionalized systems that only exist in our imagination. But above all that, what is even more important is reality itself. And we sometimes tend to lose that connection with real reality. We think the institution, the entire world, all this illusion, whether it's in games or movies or whatever, this intersubjectivity gives you this fake confidence. And it's only when you are confronted with reality that sometimes it's even too late. But it's hard. Sometimes it's just in your face. And you gotta accept it. So sooner or later, you have to challenge the reality anyway. You have to face it anyway. Falling back on reality and using that as your guidance in life is by far superior than any other framework. When you have access to information, which all of you guys have. Of course, if you grow up 100 years ago, logic is not going to help you so far because you didn't have answers to most of the questions. But today, you have moral and ethical answers to everything. Logic can provide you a paradigm for everything. And that's why when you submit and commit, you can change the world and you can change yourself. And it only requires 4 simple steps to do that. Step 1 is to value logic, to really love it on an emotional level, not just reasonable. You can literally do that. I would really advise you guys to do it. Take the time. It will fix your bullshit. All your misery will be gone. I guarantee you that. Step 1 is to love logic. And if you have a hard time, with logic because of reason and stuff, it's not so developed, just think about doing what's right. That's something everybody can relate to. But doing what's right, it's not about doing what feels right. It's about doing what is right. And that's defined by facts more than feelings. So doing what is right is also valuing empirical evidence and science and facts. Step 1, love logic. Your inner child has a connection with it already when it grew up. It wanted to understand. It wanted to see the consistency in everything. So go back, dig deep, love it, trust it. Step 2, figure out what drives you. And what drives you, it's not easy to figure out because honestly, most people even lie to themselves about what drives them. They can say like, yeah, I do what I do because I care what other people think about me. That's not true. You don't care what people think about you. You care about what other people think about you Because you feel worthless. You care about gaining value more than caring about people want to you. So figuring out what drives you is extremely important. Same with comfort. The reason why you care about comfort is not so much because you care about comfort, but more so because it gives you a sense of safety, stability, fulfillment, completeness. You crave for that. It's the path of least resistance that your brain goes through in order to achieve existential equilibrium. But hey, you don't have to go that far, but going deep and really being honest and doing so, writing it down. Don't say like, yeah, I'm doing because I want to help people. No, you want to help people to the extent to you feel like it. Go deeper. Why? If you want your girlfriend, why do you want a girlfriend? Why? Because it gives me purpose. Why do you want purpose? Because it makes me feel good. There you go. The problem is that you can always put it back to feeling good, wanting to feel good. But your mother doesn't take care of you because she feels good. She takes care of you because it's the right thing to do. She would do it even if she feels miserable. But either way, going to the core and essence and figure out what it is that drives you will give you a lot of insight about what you do, why you do it. And then step 3 is to figure out that this chase of happiness, this chase of experience is ruining your life. It's an empty lie sold by a society that is completely dysfunctional and made you dysfunctional. And you know it, you can relate to this. Just imagine, project the past and your future. You have no aim, you don't know where to go, you don't know what your purpose is. Life is empty. Not because it is empty, but because you're chasing something that is empty. And this is the solution. Now you figure that out on one end. And on the other hand, you see how much logic would bring about to your life when it comes down to purpose, values, anything. And you go back and forward. Even if it's for yourself, it's better. And the moment your inner child realizes that in step 3, that logic, submitting to your logic is much better than following up this happiness bullshit, it will hold on to that, commit, decide like this is what I want. And you go through a transformation, a catharsis, that allows you to change from within. Then step 4 is to keep doing logical stuff. As long as you do logical stuff, you keep the momentum going. Funnily enough, you will feel great. Because, little do you know, the reason why you feel good is not so much because there is like something designed in you to make you feel good playing games. It's because you've been learned and conditioned to like it. If you play a video game like, Battlefield or whatever, you say this is the bomb. Give it to someone that doesn't like Battlefield. He'll say this is shit. Same with a movie. You really enjoy a movie, show someone else. He might say it's shit. Taste differs based on your conditioning, how you've been wired and everything. And you can rewire yourself to just enjoy what is logical. Same with the reason why someone that suddenly starts believing in God goes to the church, changes habits. Why is that? Because he feels fulfilled, because he committed to something. Found purpose in God. But you can find purpose in logic, being consistent within itself. More than anything, it gives you fulfillment, it gives you peace of mind, gives you structure, gives you everything. So that's the 4th step. Keep doing what is logical. But there is some catch. If you did the click for selfish reasons to feel good, the moment you start feeling bad, you're going to start questioning logic and your trust. Definitely if you don't have a strong connection with it. You're going to wonder like, this logic is not providing that great for my experience. And it just brings about confusion. And it can really sleep in very slowly. But if you click selflessly, and you don't care about feeling good at all, then you just keep doing what is right, no matter how you feel. All the time, you do what is logical. And funnily enough, that brings about equilibrium more than anything. This is the truest form of enlightenment. There's another thing that is really important about logic to know. And that logic is based on understanding the patterns that bring about reality. Like gravity, the fundamental forces and all that shit. But it's also probabilistic in its nature. So embracing the probabilistic nature, the uncertainty, will give you more certainty. Although it sounds a bit paradoxical, but it just is what it is. And what it also allows you to do is to stop thinking binary. You don't think in right or wrong anymore because there is no absolute truths. You can just think statistically, more accurately, and, of course, correct accordingly. And as a result, you don't even become outcome dependent anymore. You just do what you thought was best. Result oriented, and even if the outcome is bad, you just learn from it and move on. It makes you indestructible. It makes you more confident than anything and more successful than anything. You know how much things I tried in my life? A lot of stuff has failed, but at the end of the day, if you keep doing what's right, in the long run, you always win. Same with poker. You can lose a hand because of bad luck, but if you have a big sample, you can always win. And life is very similar to that. So this mindset brings about so much confidence, so much structure, and solves all the inconsistencies in your life, or gives you the tools to do so, more than anything. And more, even better, it gives you the ability to change the world. It makes you look at responsibility and breathe it in, rather than look at it and go like, fuck work. You don't think about work or fun anymore. Everything is just doing the right thing, and nothing is in between. The duality is taken away. You start thinking in unity and start caring about what you are in the truest form, what it is, which is the organism, not just you. Even your ability to speak, your taste, everything is defined by the organism. Thinking that you are a single individual is very delusional and dysfunctional. So being able to just be aware of all these things can help a lot. Doing death meditation can also help a lot, because it allows you to detach from this idea of it's about you. Because you realize when you're dead, everything is gone anyway. So it gives you a very strong way of reflecting and seeing the bigger picture. Because if you die today in your mind, it's almost like the realization someone goes through when he's in his deathbed and starts regretting. But it's too late then. Well, you can go through this process now and live such a fulfilling life for yourself and for the world. You guys have the knowledge. You guys know the dysfunction. It's up to you. I can talk about this all day long, and I've been repeating this over and over again, and I'm going to repeat it over and over again as long as it needs. I will keep repeating. But at the end of the day, it is you that holds the keys to make an impact, to change. And it's fundamental to your own growth and the growth of the world. You know what's funny? If you are really having this crush on this one girl, and I'm telling you, you know, I can give you this girl right now. You'd be like, oh, how? You have to let her go. You know what's how crazy it is? You won't do it. You say, but I can't. Yeah, but then you won't get her. If you really want to get her, let her go. And then I'll give it to you. Same with happiness. Let it go, and you will get it. But you don't do it. Because on a certain level, you're wired to be like that. It is literally your inner structure that is disabling you from change. And that's why valuing change is so important. You can't be perfect. You can always grow. From a fundamental level, you're assigned to change for the better. It's really a big advantage to have. Because when you come across something that is really going to benefit you, you just adopt it. People here, even people that clicked for selfish reasons, right? That adopted logic, became more successful. Had an easier time to socialize, didn't feel anxiety. Was suddenly all gone. Bad habits just fade away. You gain control. Because right now you're not in control. Right now you're just a drone of society that really is programmed to just consume mindlessly. Your life is just a lie. It's a scam, and you know it. Why do you live? Why do you want to impress other people? How many people here just live their life to impress others? So many do it. For what? Because people don't care about you. Do you care about other people? No, you don't. They don't care about you either. It's so easy to even figure it out. As a kid, as an 8-year-old, literally you can figure that out easier than as an adult. Because you see it for what it is. Nobody cares about your fancy car, your fancy clothes, your money, your success. Nobody cares about that shit. They just care about themselves. And why are you keeping it alive? When you talk to people, people don't even listen to you. They're just listening, waiting to take the turn to speak themselves. So why are you wasting your life going to a job to buy shit you don't need, to impress people you don't care about, for people that don't care about you either? It makes no sense. And you know it. But you keep doing it because that's how you've been indoctrinated. Set yourself free, man. Wake up. Set yourself free. You can. You can set yourself free from all this fucking bullshit shackles. I like this story because it's the same shit. It's like this elephant. When it was small, it was chained. And then it grew up in that chain. And at the start, when you were a kid, you tried to break the chain, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work because you're too young. You can't do it. The pressure of your environment, everybody, it's too overwhelming. So you grow up believing that these shackles really hold you where you are. And then the old elephant, right? Strong enough to just break the chain, just like that, in a second. He doesn't do it because he believes that he can't break it. The only difference is a belief. Is trust in himself, in his own capacities to change. And he can break it like that and be free. It's the same with you guys. You guys are old enough and have the reason capacity to break this chain that society has put on you since you were a kid. Breathe the real freedom and choice and control that your inner child wanted to crave for one day. Don't let it go. Grab it back. Break these stupid shackles and take your life under control. Use logic and reason to guide you. Don't even listen to me. Listen to yourself, to your own reason, And if you think what I'm saying makes a lot of fucking sense, do it. Don't be the elephant. Take your freedom back, your real true freedom, where you get to make the choices based on your reason, rather than your impulsive emotions that is being taken advantage to all the time. Working a job, ruining your life. For what? To buy something extra? You know it's empty, you know it's not what you're supposed to do, you know it, all of you guys know it. And even though these words really hit you by the balls, you still feel like, yeah, but I can't. Yes, you can. Yeah, but I don't want to. Well, find that will, because it's somewhere in there, inside you. Find it, because you will get better of it, and the world will get better of it. Again, the information is out there. The flaw has been exposed. It is up to you. It is up to you. It's not, I can't do it. It's up to you guys. Doing what's right. And you might say, like, but what is that? Okay, now that I have logic, what then? What then? You try to have the biggest impact. You take up your responsibility. Your inner child grows up. What do you do? What has the biggest impact? You find like-minded people and you spread your awareness. Because even if like being an AI coder or doing research in mortality, immortality or whatever is the best thing to do, what is even better is to inspire others. So making other people value logic is the best thing you can do. Find like-minded people, spread the word. So even when it comes down to concretely what, you have an answer. And honestly, I won't even have to tell you that, because once you make the leap and fully commit and surrender to logic and say, this is my decision, I take up my responsibility, I won't bullshit myself, I won't be dishonest, because that's what you guys are. You're dishonest to yourself. And I can't even blame you guys. You guys have been taught a lie to such an extent you've been starting to believe it yourself. But when I say these real truth bombs, they hit you in the heart. Find that heart piece in you, man. Give it reason and it becomes indestructible. Harodgi says, you know, everything you're saying comes from story, like even stories from Elephant comes from a book. Yes, and that's great. That's what humanity is. We grow to give the torch to the next generation. That's why we got here. So I'm not claiming anything is mine. Nothing is mine. All my achievements, all of them, every single one of them, I owe to the setting and the environment and the nurturing aspect of it. All of it. Even my ability to think, to speak, to calculate. So nothing is mine. Nothing. It's a group effort. Life is a group effort. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's a collective effort. So yeah, I don't mind quoting and using anything. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of letting go identity and ego. You don't make it about yourself, you don't care about it. The Weekend says, honestly, Athene, I kind of wish I never came across your insight. It has caused me far more trouble than it's worth. Unless it's exactly what you're saying, I must be getting it wrong, which is just so demotivating, so I'm even worse than I was before. How can I think for myself if what you're saying is right and what I think is not what you're saying? And what is the point in being like, yeah, I have confidence if I'm the right thing? It's just to be there with you doing hardcore coding. I don't really understand the last phrase you mean, but it's normal. When you get confronted with reality, right, there's three phases. The first phase is resistance, because you're craving for what you already have and you're trying to shield you off. Honestly, that is the phase that most people are in all the time. Even when you're quite open-minded, you still on a fundamental level have resistance to what I'm saying, even if it's real, because it protects you, even if what you're protecting is harming you. The second phase is disgust. You look at yourself, you see your hypocrisy, you see your dishonesty, and you start feeling repelled. Third step is acceptance, and it's liberating. So yeah, if you're stuck in resistance for all the time and it never changes, then this place is really a lot worse. But I can tell you, even if you go through disgust, which is even worse than resistance, the reward, once you accept it, will outperform any bad of experience you might experience. Any. Because just the good you will do will outweigh it. Honestly, the reason why I feel not guilt, right? The reason why I don't feel regret is because at any given moment, I do things with pure intentions. Myself is not part of the equation. I've said it. I say it here already also all the time. To Tanya, to the people here. Whenever there's something like, mainly in the past, now a lot less, I always say like, it is not about me. When you bring problems, when you are focused with problems that don't exist, like, when am I complaining? Ask anyone here. When do I complain? I never complain. My only problems are the ones that other people create. Because I've got a great life. You guys have a great life too. You guys don't have real problems, neither do I. That's why anything that you feel bad about is really, really childish. It's just very dysfunctional and very immature to even feel bad with everything we got. If you get handed some real problems, then suddenly you start seeing all your other problems as like, what the fuck was I even thinking? That's why a lot of people go through quite some transition when they go through a near-death experience. Because they suddenly start valuing what really matters, because all their other problems was just futile. And that's the thing. You are enhancing your problems because of the inner workings of how experience works. It's a feedback loop. Music. Your brain is the music player creating the music that can influence the brain on itself. And what is really crazy about it is you can enhance it. Just like if I talk to the mic and then to the stream, and the stream plays back to the mic, you hear like turu, 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 and it gets louder and louder, right? You also have it sometimes when you go to a concert or something, when they're testing the sound. Why is that? It has to do with the feedback loop, and you do the same thing with your problems. The smallest problems can become fucking giants, even though when you just look at them for what they are, they don't even exist. And that's the thing, when reality is your only reference frame, you don't care about all this shit. You just try to have an impact. So when I'm saying like the bottom line, to get back to this guy's question, if you're resisting what I say, I can tell you right now, it's normal, first of all. But secondly, the pain and the suffering that you cause by going through this resistance, honestly, is nothing compared to a real problem. So if that's your biggest problem, you got a quite good life, you know? And I think like that's also something that we'll be very aware of. And it's actually something that sometimes can annoy me a little bit, I'll be honest. Because I think it's ultimate entitlement and being spoiled. When I confront you that your inaction is killing people, and then you look at me and say like, why are you telling me this? I'm feeling bad. Like, are you fucking crazy? Are you even listening to what you just say? It's like, that's really psychopath behavior. It's really psycho. Why are you telling me? This doesn't make, like, well, like, you're not feeling good. Like, who gives a shit? There's people dying because of your inaction. I think that is worth a little bit, you know, of you thinking about it. People go through life making everything about themselves, seeing everything about themselves. Even when I talk to them, even in here, when we had the insight, I went to certain people try to make it about themselves. They say like, yeah, but I really have issues, you know, trying to... I said, you fucking what, mate? You have issues? You're trying to make it about yourself? Are you crazy? You have issues? I'll put you in a war zone. See how much issues you have then. It's like people's entitlement is just over 9,000. It's insane. So when you come and say like the worst thing is that you feel a little bit less happy because you have a harder time bullshitting yourself, I think that's nothing compared to the actual damage your inaction is causing. And I know this is annoying to hear, but it's real. And taking up responsibility is liberating. It's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you chase responsibility and you divide your life in work and fun. But the moment you accept and embrace your responsibility, there is no work and fun anymore. There is just what is, and that's more liberating, more fulfilling than any experience you've gone through.
Subscribe to youtube.com/AtheneWins. Watch the live stream at twitch.tv/AtheneLive and follow The Real Athene on Snapchat.